Alright, we are recording. It's going medieval. Key was provided by Tinsley PR. Let's hit resume. I really only have one main thing in my notes for what to talk about today. And that is the Steam leak, which fortunately is not as bad as it could be. So the history of it is, I think on Wednesday it was, that, somebody found a cache of data supposedly related to Steam that was up for sale online at $5,000, I think it was. And supposedly it had information related to, well, 89 million records in there, which is not all of Steam's users, but still, it's like, oh, this is not good. But it was then people weren't sure what all was going on with it, how significant an issue it may or may not have been. I'm gonna need that. Okay. I'm just trying to decide what I may want to go to with any of this. Tapestry might be nice. Anyway. So yeah, people weren't entirely sure. Then people were taking a close look at what it actually was, and it seemed to be hang on. Nope. Come on. There we go. Okay, let's go to high. Okay, that should all be fine. And it was a lot of the one-time codes that are sent via text, and that's exactly what it is. So it's just a cache of those. But Valve eventually did, and this I saw on Thursday, they investigated things and determined it is not that big a deal. It is a problem, but no Steam system was breached. So no account information was ever exposed. Oh, really? Wait, what the heck? Oh, okay, so that's just showing that you can come up from any of those positions. Look at this. I thought I'd found that this could act. Oh, wait, hang on. Let's do that. But yeah, so no account information was breached. Which also means there's no need to change passwords or phone numbers. That it looked like it was just those text messages are sent through various pieces of infrastructure, and somewhere along the line they were stored such that somebody could then put it into a cache like this to then sell. Which is a problem. That should not be happening, but it could be worse. So my understanding is it's basically, yeah, phone numbers and these codes, which these codes expire after 15 minutes, so it's not like they would help anyone today. So it would just be a bunch of phone numbers of people who, at one point at least, had that phone number connected to a Steam account. So in a way that's not so bad, because that would mean then that okay, I'm just checking and see. Alright. It's looking okay over here. I mean, phone numbers get out there a lot. I mean, any political season, you get well, at least in America, you get a bunch of texts and phone calls that you don't know why you're getting them. So that's kind of what this may be feeding into then. But it does also mean if you get any text messages alleging to be from Steam, from Valve, you might not want to trust them. So just, always be suspicious of phishing attempts. And even in Valve's own thing about it, just saying that, if you get a message claiming oh, here's the code for you to verify with, and you didn't prompt that, be suspicious of it. And you can go in and see the list of devices that Steam is activated on. And you can remove devices if you wish. Mark that. So yeah, it is not a, oh my god, we have to quick change every pass. It's not that kind of situation, fortunately. It isn't great, but it is not a like, well, as I said, and oh my god, we gotta do something. So yeah. Just trying to think if there's anything else to mention. How's this going? Nope. Still not one. Oh. Okay. You know what, then I'm just gonna put that to low. I could probably just turn that off if that's not gonna actually help anything. All other things I got is just some of the more normal news. Like one thing that is kind of neat, I used to put a lot into Splitgate. Like, you know, I would play that every day, kind of thing, because you know there were benefits to doing so. I then stopped because basically I like for vacation ended up missing a day, and it's like, all right, I'll just not worry about it. I'm not getting me wrong, it was fun, but it was just I don't need to keep making the time for this. Well, Splitgate 2, its open beta is coming next week on the 22nd, and one of the things it will include is the lab, which is its map builder. I'm trying to remember if they use different term there. And they promise that it's different from what you've seen before, and one thing about it's like, yeah, I can't remember a map builder offering this capability, which is, okay, it says it refers to you can do real-time map building with your friends, and then parenthetically says up to 16. It's like, okay, is that 16 total people? Meaning you and 15 friends, or are you saying 17 people? I'm not sure. But in any case, that I don't recall ever being, I don't recall an example of that in another game. Real-time collaboration on a map builder. And that is potentially very neat. I don't know though. The heck? Oh, wait, what? Oh, okay, I see. Got it. Yeah, let's do that. It takes herbs? Alright. Wasn't expecting that. But, I just realized. Oh no, they're all set to winter. That's good. Okay. And if nothing else is nice, I don't need to worry about doing that myself. Should also plan out for more of that. Let me... I wanted to type in the number and it was like, no. I don't like running out of those. Oh, wait, what? Where's the limestone brick made? I don't remember. Is that... It's not there. Is there stonemasons? Yes, okay. Same thing here. But yeah, anyway, I don't know what I will do with Splitgate 2. It's honestly one of those things where some of the stuff about it is like, yeah, that looks interesting, but I don't know how much I care. Like I liked in the original the more generic aspect to it, in that you just played the game and you would put on Team Red or Team Blue kind of thing. And I trying to remember. See, one thing you could do a lot for changing color, but it's I kind of wish that games, and this also I remember Rocket League this being the case. It's like there's no reason for you to be not always on Team Blue, because the other team can just always be shown as Team Red. I feel that should be a thing. I don't think Splitgate allowed that, but it would be neat if it did. But anyway, it being more just that was the case. But now it's not only which side you're on, but which class. There's 3 different classes in there, or groups, and it's like, I get how that's what some people want, but it's also I like the more general kind of design. I mean, it's kind of like man, unfortunately you can't even buy the game anymore. Shattered Horizon, which is actually made by Futuremark. This is quite a while ago. It was a fun game. It was a online first-person shooter, competitive first-person shooter, and it initially was just you were in a 6-degree motion, because you were an astronaut. Essentially, you're trapped in Earth orbit, and you would have to take over. You would have to conquer whatever the location is against the other team. And initially, everyone had the exact same weapon. It was all just a assault rifle that had a grenade launcher on it and a bayonet, and that was it. And it I liked it that way, and a lot of other people did. And by the way, it also there were 2 spots that would be an instant kill. One was the face mask, so a headshot. I think it was primarily to the front though, but also the your air tanks on the back. But anyway, that was it. They then had the firearms update that added a whole bunch of different weapons to there, and it was like, yeah, I get it, but at the same time, it was just the variety also hurt a little bit. Like I wished, and I think a lot of other people, I want to say a lot of other people did, and the developers were like, oh, yeah, we didn't realize that we can't even undo this. We can't even put in a game mode that would just be with the single weapon, the original weapon even. Yeah, let me see. You then had shotgun, SMG, assault rifle, LMG, and a sniper rifle. And I think you could change the loadout anytime that you died when you spawned back in. You could change it. I don't think you were committed for the length of a match. You also had a pistol as a sidearm, I think. And there was a pistol grenade launcher. Pistol-based grenade launcher, because you didn't want to you couldn't necessarily mount a grenade launcher to some of these other weapons. They also, I don't remember if it was in the original or later, or if it was part of Firearms, you had 3 different grenades. A frost grenade, which was actually like a mist. Put up a cloud that made it hard for people to see. An impulse grenade, I think this one came later, that would just push people out of the way. Well, push people out from wherever it detonated, which I don't remember if you could control it or not, but you could also use that to launch yourself. But there was also the EMP grenade, which this was actually really neat, because it would shut down some of these systems. Now, they could still spin around, but the backpack that was the oxygen supply, it also had thrusters on there, and it's how you'd get forward momentum. And I think there was even a boost you could use. But one other thing that was really neat, I mean, it really was a very fun game. It is such a shame that it couldn't continue to live, and part of that was the Firearms update. I mean, people got used to it, but it would have been nice if they had a way to go back. But it's also, they added some new maps, but it needed more maps. But basically, it was one of those games where if both the demand were higher and the supply were higher, it probably would have continued on, but that's not what ended up happening, sadly. Anyhow, one of the other things you could do that relates to the EMP grenade, you could actually just turn off all the electronics, which would mean you could still actually move around. You still had the ability to set momentum forward and back, but you couldn't just immediately stop yourself. It was a lot slower to build up momentum, slower to lose it. But you could, if you did that, you wouldn't appear on anyone's radar. Oh yeah, they also added, instead, you now had like a arresting axe from climbing that you could use as your melee weapon. But you could use that then, and see if you can find some of the trailers. I mean, it really was a fun game. But you could turn off your electronics, so now you're basically going in stealth. Come up behind people and just whack them with the thing. You know, say you could melee them with either in the original version with the bayonet on your assault rifle, or later with that axe. It was really neat, and that would be an instant kill because you were guaranteed to, like, it would tear the suit, so the person would lose their atmosphere and die. Yeah, that was fun, and it's also, if you were in that stealth mode and you opened fire, you would, because of, is it third law? Whichever it is of Newton's laws, the equal and opposite reaction. As you would fire, you would get pushed back. Yeah, but it's also, you could engage that stealth mode to prevent the EMP from doing anything to you, because it's already all off. The EMP goes off. Now you can turn yourself back on before anyone else can. Well, anyone that was hit by the EMP that was actually, like, with it running. So yeah, it legitimately was a very neat, fun, and clever game. And I do wish that we could see somebody try to recreate that in another game. I mean, it was to a degree like a Call of Duty game in space, but it was innovative. And to be clear, I'm not that familiar with Call of Duty. You know, I see it, but I think the only time I ever played a Call of Duty game, it was many years ago, and it was just like, oh yeah, we're doing a free weekend kind of thing on Steam. And it's like, alright, I mean, yeah, it's not exactly something I cared about. But it just, having that 6-degree motion, having the rules, it was really, really clever. It wasn't just, you know, like, oh yeah, we're running around on the surface of the moon. It's like, no, you were floating in space. You could also, if there were physical structures, you could land on them, and that was also fun because, like, okay, flip around, land on the other side, so you're going around upside down compared to other people. Yeah, and it was fun with that as well because you could, I would have fun with just sniping people across the map. It's like, find a good perch, because basically anywhere could be a perch, and then just try to find one that gives you a good amount of cover and do that. I mean, it really was so much fun. They don't make games like that anymore. Which I say that as a little bit of a joke, that it's not so much that they don't make them like that anymore, it's that it was a specific innovation to the formula that you don't really see much. I mean, you could do that, it's just you would need the right people to do that. I mean, it's kind of like Star Drive. That indie space-based 4X game, that there's still one thing in there that I would love to see other places do, which is you could design a fleet complete with, I want this to be the configuration of where the ships are placed when it moves and all that, or rather when it's in combat. You could design that as just a hypothetical, and then you could hit a button and it would just schedule all the ships necessary to be built. That's really awesome. This idea that it's like, oh yeah, I just, you know, I want this fleet with like 2 carriers, 5 cruisers, 15 destroyers, kind of thing. And it's like, you just designed that, and then, okay, however much longer later, I'll hit the button to actually have it built. But then it's also because that fleet has been built by that design, or every fleet would have a design. But it's like, if it loses Those, if it loses ships because of a battle, you can hit the button to rebuild those specifically. That's an amazing feature. That's in an indie space, indie 4X game. There's so many 4X games that would benefit from that exact same feature, but you don't necessarily see that being done. And maybe that's an element of it being indie. Technically, Shattered Horizon was indie as well. Future Mark wasn't. I mean, it was their second game. Unstoppable Gorg was their first game. But they were doing it on their own. So some of it is just the innovation of indie. But I think some of it could also be a willingness to try something new, which not everyone is able to do. Like, one thing I've been hearing about that Expedition 33 game is that the developers had been at Ubisoft, and they left, formed this new company. I don't remember the name of it, and this is what they made because this is the game they wanted to make, and apparently it does have some degree of innovation, at least with the storytelling, if not the actual gameplay mechanics. And so I could definitely believe that Ubisoft and many other large companies, large studios, it's just when you get large, you become concerned with remaining large. So you have, well, the penny pinchers basically, just saying, oh, well, this made us this much money before, we should keep replicating that, versus somebody just being like, well, no, I got this idea, I think it's a really good idea, I want to try this idea. So they'd be like, well, why should we, risk spending so much money on that we don't know if it'll give us a return, while this is a proven method. I mean, it's one of those things that technically success can breed a habit into people to be formulaic. So yeah, that's part of the reason why indies are good, because they haven't had that success before, or what success they've had before was from being innovative, so they don't necessarily want to even try going to a formula. But then it's also true that there are plenty of indies that aren't that good. Yeah, it's just things be complicated. And as far as Expedition 33 goes, yeah, I've heard good things about it. I don't know if I will ever get it and play it myself. I mean, it's just the whole, I got such a back catalog. I'm not that active in playing games, as I've talked about many times before. I just want to see how long I was going here. But also, it's, come on, brain. Turn over. Isn't necessarily my style of game. JRPGs are not necessarily my thing. They're not contrary to my thing. I mean, it's like how I mentioned Call of Duty before. That is more that kind of gameplay, more so the multiplayer aspect to it. It's like I don't care. I mean, I really enjoyed Crisis 1 more so. So I mean, FPSs I'm good with. Action-based FPSs. That Metro series. Battlefield Bad Company 2 I enjoyed. It's like, there definitely are some games there, but I'm more the story-based kind of gamer. So something like Call of Duty and Battlefield, nah. Plus is also, I'd be too concerned about, is this just formulaic? It is, well then. But the like Fortnite is also this isn't my kind of thing. Sports games as well. Not my thing. What are you supposed to do? Home to stock. Oh, that's I have a feeling there's not going to be anything for me to buy, because I don't know what I could possibly need. Yeah, sell me some herbs, because I definitely need those. It mainly is just trying to get rid of the lower quality ones. I have a wolf carcass? I have 3 wolf carcasses? Okay. Not sure how that happened. Well, I mean, no, obviously I know how it happened, but I just didn't realize that it had happened. What the heck do you have to offer? We'll just do that. Okay, and I also need to check how many people do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. Let me just look at this. Okay, so in theory, let's do this. So that way, it doesn't matter if it is, because I can make the fine, superior, and flawless. That way it'll just well, here, let's actually put it to sturdy. So it's flimsy and sturdy are going to get unmade regardless. Kind of like that idea. Come on. There. Wherever. Turn that off. Because that way I don't even need to worry about selling that stuff anymore. You'll just be building up somebody's experience. I just have no idea who. I got plenty of people that could be doing it. I'm gonna turn cooking up. Yeah, it should be fine. Okay. Just trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, it is mainly, for me, it's just such a backlog. Which, going back to the whole thing I was saying about how you do have, the penny pinchers that try to, that would encourage going to a formula because that's how they made money before. Well, you, have the problem there of that makes it very susceptible to, well, your backlog is going to compete with you then. Because the backlog will also contain the formula potentially when it was first developed. So, yeah. That was very annoying. Because the traps haven't been reset that Wolf managed to get in need. Anyway. It also would explain the interest in remakes and such today. Not that a good remake is a bad thing, but that it is a repetition of the formula. So they can probably make it easy to justify. Plus, there's also and I think that to a degree that's also why you might be seeing so many remakes today, is a remake is a good time to experiment with a new engine. So if a lot of companies are trying to move over to Unreal Engine 5, do that with a remake, because now a lot of the assets are already made. You already know what you're trying to do. You can see exactly what you're trying to recreate, but now it's on it's just 2 new engines, so it gives you time to a good setup for learning for learning what you're doing. Sorry, not relearning, but learning how to do things, because say, okay, we did this before, this is what exactly we did before, this is what we want, so do it here. Is it really that much cooking to do that there's just no one doing steward stuff? I am not going to stop complaining about this. Needs to have a chore system where it's just, no, these things are done every day. Not oh, well, these things are higher priority because the developer arbitrarily set this being the order. It's like, no, you do the chores every day. These are them. They get done. Okay. Why are they coming down here to eat? I feel like they should have food elsewhere that they can get to. But you know what else? No, that's not. I have a feeling I got more cattle than I need. A lot more. And they're all mature. I will wait on it though. You know what? Hey. I can stop this thing. It's... That's a little annoying. Anyway, yeah, because now once that's locked, only the settlers will be able to go in and out. Oh. That's unfortunate. You know what? There. I'm literally just gonna have you stand here. Okay. Now Luna. Nope. Shh. Okay, you know what? I know what to do. They don't sleep down here typically. So like once night comes, it should be emptied of animals. Actually, even now it looks like once he leaves. There. Because yeah, I don't see any other animal here. Perfect. Yeah, and this is also nonsense, where it's like people could be walking through there. And it's like, that needs to be locked. Well, I need to be set to steward. I'm doing this other thing, so I can't do that. It's like, what are you talking about? Just lock the door. But it's also, you do need corral to... the whole pet system needs to be changed as well. Where it's like, no. Pets cannot just arbitrarily open up these doors. Alright, yeah, that's right. They got, oh boy. The hell's up with that? There's so few things that are above cooking, and yet, hang on. Am I... Yeah, because of, oh no, calling it, yeah, dropped up cooking, and just people aren't doing it. What the heck? Unfortunately, it's night now, so it's... Can't do it for long. Wait, actually, what is the temperature like? Yeah, let's turn these on. But this is absurd. This is absolutely absurd. I'm sure none of them are gonna decompose, but... What? Why it thinks it shouldn't be... Shouldn't be doing this, I don't know. It's like they're working on harvest stuff that's at 2, but not... This is part of the reason why this really needs an overhaul, because clearly they're not obeying it. You know what? I'm gonna try doing that. Maybe that'll reset it. I don't know. I cannot trust this system. It is so complicated and messy to look at. Why would it not be complicated and messy to actually have them do it? I just want to see how long it's going. I think I can probably stop it after this day. You know, that does also explain why they had to keep going in here to eat, because there's not much here they can eat. I mean, the carnivores can, but the rest can't. Alright, so... To me at 9 is when things can get interesting. So I will want... Ready Alicia probably, maybe Osram. See, it's also interesting. It looks like they are just going over there. Why would they not do any of the butchering? Oh, now we have somebody butchering. Now, hey, finally they figured out to do this job that they should have been doing the entire frickin' time. What are you following? But finally. I mean, sorry, that is That's not right. That is a lot of food over a lot of days that simply was not being acted on. I mean, I get that the developers might not want to make this into a factory type game, but in some ways, no, that's exactly what you need to do. You do need to have production chains, essentially. And that's kind of what the chores are that I'm talking about. But yeah, you need to have that kind of control because this should not be allowed to happen. Right? If I were playing Satisfactory and there's a backup like this, it's like, okay, where is it broken later on? Versus why are they not doing the thing they are told to do? Okay, that's completely different. Because if it's this kind of backup, then say, okay, I probably need to add in more machines to do the work later down the line. Or I screwed up with the belt level. But in here, it'd say, no, we're just not working on the stuff that we're supposed to be doing. Why? Because, I don't know. And still, I got no idea where they're taking this stuff. Oh, they're taking the bones. Okay. That's fine. Which also reminds me, let me just check that. Yeah. Construction material, raw material, they're waste. It's like they can't be used to make these things. I'm just, yeah. And oh my god, so much leather. And now, unfortunately, it is time for them to stop. It barely looks like they made a dent, doesn't it? They did. Just, yeah. Alright, well, winter will be ending soon. So, once spring comes, I will extend these down and these down. Definitely gonna have them continue to focus on making up the food there, and I will start having more apartments built. I'll start handling that as well. All right, that should do it. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else to mention before leaving. Oh, yeah, I guess there's that. Next week is going to be busy because Computex is next week. Almost forgot. Team Boop already sent out already put together a press release. So that's one of the things in the Friday news write-up. But there's going to be plenty of others. Let me see. We're expecting AMD to announce the RX 9060 XT, which, by the way, I've seen at least one rumor suggest, with people talking about how, oh, it's going to have a higher clock frequency, higher game clock than the 9070. It's like, yeah, that's actually kind of normal. They've been prior generations like that as well. And it's because the cores, well, the GPU ends up being smaller, so heat is less of an issue. It uses less power, so they're able to crank it up. But it still will be overall lower performance. It just, yeah. It's like a smaller, lighter engine is able to achieve a higher RPM than a larger, heavier engine. The larger, heavier engine is still more powerful. Kind of like that. Yeah, so we can expect that. I feel like I saw a rumor about NVIDIA announcing something. I just can't remember what. Intel probably will have something as well. AMD might also be a little interesting, depending, because they've been, at least, well, code has been appearing to suggest Threadripper Pro is coming. We'll see if they also do just regular Threadripper, non-Pro. So basically, HEDT versus Workstation. Hopefully they do revitalize HEDT, but it's one of those things that, and this is AMD's fault, because they've managed to push such high core counts in consumer CPUs, they've kind of from the bottom eaten away at HEDT. But it's the whole thing. Well, there's some of us that we like having the great number of memory channels. You can go into quad channels, so just dual channel, and also having a lot of PCIe lanes. And that's only HEDT or workstations. Like, well, some of us aren't workstation people. We give us the HEDT part, so we'll see what happens. I did see one thing when I was logged in Twitter the other day, and this I'm very curious about. It looked like Noctua is actually working on and will be showing off at the booth a phase change cooler. So that is it's kind of a hybrid between a vapor chamber and an all-in-one cooler, or just more generally liquid cooling. We use a liquid, but it's not water. It's a liquid that boils at a lower temperature. This is what happens within vapor chambers, but that is with water and I think a little glycol in there. But this is designed to be lower, even a lower temperature. So like it boils at 60 degrees Celsius, let's say. So then it boils. It then travels through pipes, condenses in something like in some kind of radiator, and then it flows back because it's condensed and flows back and does that again. So it's essentially like an AIO, because it would need to be completely sealed. You can't. You couldn't even do like a custom loop of this. I think it would need to all be sealed because these chemicals will escape, and some of them are not. Like this is one reason you kind of don't see it too much. Is there was at least a material 3M made that it wasn't healthy, so they had to stop. He said, I think that's the case. I don't remember, but anyway, you don't need a pump. It's essentially an all-in-one cooler without a pump, because it's the phase change, the boiling, that circulates the fluid. So it can be very efficient in that regard, and especially because it's also how much energy that such a phase change can carry. But I think, I'm trying to remember, I want to say there have been some instances of it where, because of how efficiently it can move the heat away from the CPU or GPU or whatever, and to the radiator, and then how efficiently the condensing gets the energy out, that it might not, I'm not even sure if it needs as powerful of fans to the radiator. I don't quite remember on that, but it's still, I saw it and it's like, oh, that is really neat, and it does make sense for Noctua since they are premier cooling, and it should be very quiet. It would also be very, very reliable. Because you operate in basic physics. There's not a motor there that can die. It's kind of like how one advantage with an air cooler versus a water cooler of any kind is that if a pump dies, a water cooler will fail. That you will see a CPU overheat then because the heat isn't leaving. But with an air cooler, you still got a large hunk of metal there that will absorb and dissipate some heat passively. It might not be very efficient, but it will still work. I think DeBauer has some videos where he was doing some overclocking work, and he would, just to confirm if a CPU would post even, he would just put his a tank on there that's like for holding dry ice or liquid nitrogen. He would just put that there because it is enough of a thermal sink, just a block of metal. I mean, this was more than that, it was a pot, but it still is enough that you'd at least get into BIOS to see. It's like, that's an advantage the air coolers have that liquid coolers don't, but a phase change kind of gets the best of both worlds. So yeah, if that is true, that's going to be very fun to write up. If that is in fact true. One thing I got to think on, I don't know if you can use soft piping with that, like an AIO, or if it would need to be hard tubing, which could lead to issues. I don't know. The image that they showed was like of just the vapor chamber, where you could see the boiling, and it did show pipes going off to the side, I think, but I don't know necessarily where those would go. But in any case, definitely, that is one thing I know I'm going to be interested in seeing, and I'm certain there will be many other things from Computex that will be interesting to see. So yeah, I shall see you next week, and there will be Computex to talk about. See you then.